Imagine a killer terrorizing California for years, taunting police with encrypted letters, claiming dozens of victims, calling newspapers to brag about murders, creating ciphers that took decades to crack. He attacked couples, shot them, stabbed them. He wore a bizarre costume with a symbol. He called himself the Zodiac. Despite hundreds of suspects and thousands of tips, he was never caught. Over 50 years later, his identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American crime history. This is the Zodiac Killer. This is Cold Trail. December 20th, 1968, Benicia, California. High school students David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date. They parked at a secluded spot on Lake Herman Road. Around 11 p.m., someone approached their car, shot them both. David died instantly. Betty tried to run. She was shot 5 times in the back. Both teenagers died. Police had no suspects, no clear motive, just 2 young people murdered for no apparent reason. 6 months later, it happened again. July 4th, 1969. Vallejo, California. Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau were shot in a parking lot. Darlene died. Mike survived. The terror had begun. August 1st, 1969. 3 Bay Area newspapers received identical letters. Each contained a coded cipher. Each was signed with a circle and cross symbol. The letters claimed responsibility for the murders. The writer said he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. He demanded the ciphers be published on the front pages, or he would go on a killing rampage. The letters were published. The public was terrified. Codebreakers went to work. 1 week later, a teacher and his wife cracked the first cipher. It began, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." The Zodiac had announced himself to the world. September 27th, 1969. Lake Berryessa, Napa County. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking by the lake. A man approached wearing a bizarre costume, a black executioner-style hood, the Zodiac symbol on his chest. He carried a gun, claimed he was an escaped convict, needed their car. He tied them up, then attacked with a knife. Brian survived despite severe wounds. Cecilia died 2 days later. Before leaving, the killer wrote on Brian's car door the dates of his attacks, the Zodiac symbol, and the words Vallejo 4-69, 7-69, September 27th-69-630 by knife. He was keeping score. October 11th, 1969, San Francisco. The Zodiac changed his pattern. He shot and killed taxi driver Paul Stein in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. This was different. A robbery, an execution, in the city, not isolated lovers' lanes. The Zodiac took Stein's wallet, tore off a piece of his shirt, then sent the shirt piece to the San Francisco Chronicle with a letter, proof he was the killer. Police had a description. Witnesses saw a man leaving the scene. Composite sketches were made. Police even stopped a man near the scene that night. Let him go. Years later, they realized they'd stopped the Zodiac and didn't know it. The Zodiac sent letter after letter to newspapers, to lawyers, to investigators, each signed with his symbol. Some contained ciphers, others had pieces of evidence only the killer would have. He taunted police, mocked their failures, claimed to have killed 37 people, though only 7 confirmed victims could be linked to him. He threatened to blow up school buses, to shoot children. He demanded his letters be published or he'd kill more. The media complied, giving the Zodiac exactly what he wanted: attention, fame, control. He was a killer who craved the spotlight, and he got it. The Zodiac sent 4 major ciphers. The first was cracked in 1969. It contained his chilling confession of enjoying killing, but the others remained unsolved for decades. The most famous, the 340-character cipher. For 51 years, it resisted every attempt to decode it. The best cryptographers in the world tried, failed. It became an obsession, a challenge. Then, in December 2020, a team of code breakers finally cracked it. The message was rambling, incoherent. The Zodiac complained about movies and television, mocked police, but revealed nothing about his identity. Even decoded, his secrets remained hidden. Over the decades, thousands of suspects were investigated. Arthur Lee Allen was the prime suspect for years, a convicted child molester who owned Zodiac watches, whose friends said he talked about killing couples, though, and calling himself Zodiac. But DNA didn't match. He died in 1992 without being charged. Other suspects: Richard Gaikowski, a newspaper editor, Lawrence Kane, who lived near victim areas, Ross Sullivan, a library worker, Earl Van Best Jr., suggested by his own son. Every suspect had circumstantial evidence, none had definitive proof. The Zodiac's identity remained frustratingly elusive. Was he someone police knew, or someone they never considered? DNA became the hope for solving the case. Saliva from envelope seals, touch DNA from letter stamps. Investigators developed partial profiles, but contamination was a problem. The evidence had been handled by dozens of people over decades. In recent years, genetic genealogy, the technique that caught the Golden State Killer, has been applied. Investigators hope to match DNA to distant relatives, build a family tree, identify the Zodiac, but so far the DNA evidence has been insufficient, too degraded, too contaminated. The science that solved other cold cases has not yet solved the Zodiac, but investigators haven't given up. The Zodiac's last confirmed letter was in 1974, 5 years after his first known murder, then silence. Did he stop killing? Was he imprisoned for another crime? Did he die? Move away? Some believe he continued killing but stopped claiming credit. Others think he achieved what he wanted, notoriety, became bored, moved on. A few theorists believe the Zodiac might still be alive, watching the continued fascination with his crimes. If he's alive today, he'd be in his 80s or 90s, an old man carrying a terrible secret. Why did he stop? We may never know. So in 2021, a group called the Case Breakers claimed they'd identified the Zodiac. They named Gary Francis Post, a man who died in 2018. They said forensic evidence, photos, and scars matched. They found the Zodiac symbol in photos connected to Post. But the FBI and police departments disputed the claim, said the evidence was circumstantial, not conclusive, no DNA match. The Case Breakers stood by their identification. But without definitive proof, the controversy continues. Is Gary Francis Post the Zodiac, or just another in a long line of suspects who seemed to fit but couldn't be proven? The debate rages on. What drove the Zodiac? Psychologists believe he was a narcissist who craved attention and control. Killing wasn't enough. He needed recognition. He wanted the world to know his name, or at least his symbol. He was theatrical, wore costumes, created puzzles, wrote letters. He turned murder into performance art. This personality type often can't stop seeking attention, so why did his letters stop? Some theorists believe he found another outlet. Perhaps he became a successful criminal who satisfied his need for notoriety in another way. Or perhaps he died, taking his secrets with him. We may never understand what truly motivated the Zodiac. 7 confirmed victims are attributed to the Zodiac: David Faraday, 17, Betty Lou Jensen, 16, Darlene Farron, 22, Michael Mageau survived, Cecilia Shepard, 22, Brian Hartnell survived, Paul Stein, 29. These weren't characters in a mystery. They were real people, teenagers on dates, a young mother, a hardworking cab driver. They had families, friends, futures stolen by a killer who wanted fame. While the Zodiac's legend grew, the victims' names faded. This is wrong. We should remember them, not glorify him. The Zodiac doesn't deserve to be a legend. He deserves to be forgotten, but his victims deserve to be remembered. The case remains open. Multiple agencies continue investigating. The San Francisco Police Department, the FBI, Amateur Sleuths Online. New technology offers new hope, genetic genealogy, advanced DNA testing, digital enhancement of evidence. Every few years, a new theory emerges. A new suspect is proposed. The case has been examined in books, documentaries, and films. Interest never fades. Some investigators have spent their entire careers on this case, retired without answers, but the work continues. Someone knows who the Zodiac was. Maybe it's a family member who suspects, a friend who remembers strange behavior, or the Zodiac himself, if still alive. The truth is out there. Over 50 years have passed since the Zodiac's first confirmed attack. The killer may be dead, the evidence may be too degraded, the truth may be lost to time, but cases have been solved after decades. Technology advances, witnesses come forward, deathbed confessions happen. There's still hope. If you have any information about the Zodiac killer, contact the San Francisco Police Department or the FBI. Someone knows something. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you know. The Zodiac wanted to be remembered. Let's give him what he deserves. To be caught. To be named. To face justice, even if posthumously. This is Cold Trail. Subscribe and join us. Thanks for watching.